On deck, I'm Tyler Redmond. I'm here with none other than Jim Poole. So good to see you, sir.
Tyler, good to see you.
Now, you played for many major league teams over your career, but you got your start at Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me how you go from Georgia Tech to the major leagues. Just tell me through your college career.
When I got to Georgia Tech, there's not a soul, including me, that thought there'd be a major leagues to get to. I went there to be an electrical engineer, and to the point where my college coach, when he introduced the freshman class, he talked about their batting average, ZRA, state championships. He talked about my GPA and my SAT score. So it was just one of those things. I was fortunate to go into a program that was growing, and he kept giving me an opportunity to go out there. Jim Morris was my head coach, and kept giving me an opportunity, and just kept on moving forward.
So who'd you get drafted by when you came up? Who was it?
The LA Dodgers. And I got to tell you, I'm a Phillies fan. I grew up in Philly, so the Dodgers were not my favorite team, though I didn't mind when I found out I got drafted by them. It was really cool.
So when you got drafted, you get a Hall of Fame manager in Tommy Lasorda. You got to give me a Tommy Lasorda story. I know this guy.
Tommy was all about entertainment. You did not make Tommy look bad because Tommy could put on a show. I wish I had a good story to just get you doubled over laughing. But the thing I noticed the most about Tommy is that man knew how to work a room, which meant a locker room, and even by then, being able to motivate your players and know what buttons to push. Sometimes because he could make you laugh, sometimes he could just jab you, and you wouldn't even know you just got jabbed until you walked away. Then what you like? I'm going to do it. Man, that guy could make it happen. And that locker room that I was with, not just Tommy Lasorda, it was Oral Hershiser, Eddie Murray, Mike Scioscia, Rick Dempsey, Fernando Valenzuela. Right, there was a lot of characters he had to deal with, and he did a fantastic job.
So there's a character you didn't mention that I'm going to mention right now. Vin Scully's in the booth.
Yeah.
Tell me, the whole Dodgers organization is historical, but Vin Scully himself is an historic figure. And what's it like having Vin Scully call your games?
It was very cool. I grew up a Phillies fan, so Harry Kalas was the name that I had, but I obviously had heard of Vin Scully, heard him plenty. And I throw my first game. I didn't meet him until I pitched. And I throw my first game, 12th inning, Dodger Stadium, walk out against Tony Gwynn. I strike out Tony Gwynn, and I walk off the mound. That was all I had to do.
Give me five.
Yeah, it was really cool. But the next day, Vin Scully calls me up. We have I don't know what it was before the game, and he calls me up and lets me know that he had taped his broadcast of me in my first appearance. He said he did that for all the guys coming up, and that was pretty good because even back then, so this was 1990.
Yeah, he's already.
Clearly, this is a legend that is telling me, just some guy, I'm giving you a tape of your first appearance.
Now, you mentioned some of your teammates earlier on the Dodgers.
Yeah,
but you had a lot of Hall of Fame level and superior even in the Hall of Fame.
I was a very supportive player.
Yeah,
a lot of guys made it because of me, I'm sure.
No doubt. Now, Cal Ripken Jr.
Yeah.
Tell me just a horse. Just Iron Man all the way. Right?
Yeah, that was a great nickname for him. There was more than a couple times where I wasn't quite sure how he was going to make it the next day. One time it was we had a brawl with the Mariners. It's just the way it happens, and somebody clipped him in the knee. And we had a long flight, thank goodness, the next day. But that guy was out there playing. He was probably the things that his persona is who he is. Very, knows how to take care of his business, and he's a great guy. But I think what people don't understand is like when you get him behind closed doors, he can be as goofy as anybody else you ever met. He can let his hair down and have a great time. It was an honor to play with him.
Well, on the same token, you played with Eddie Murray.
Yeah.
Just a Hall of Famer.
Best teammate I ever had, not even
really
close. So, again, Phillies fan, I'm reading about Eddie Murray all the time, and it's never good. And he was always negative about Eddie Murray. And at the time, I didn't understand that sometimes what I was reading wasn't necessarily just straight what was going on. It could be just influenced by some bias. So he gets picked up by the Dodgers. I'm in minor league camp. They asked me to come throw BP to some guys that had been left back from a game, and he's one of them. And I'm a pitcher, and I'm aspiring to be in the big leagues, but I can't throw strikes worth a darn in BP, especially without a catcher. And he steps in, and about halfway through, just walks out. Just walks out on me. I was terrible. I admit it. I was awful. but it was not the most comfortable feeling in the world. So, so thank goodness Rick Dempsey was the other guy that happened to be in there, and he swings at everything. So he swung the rest of the PP. But my feeling of Eddie Murray is not that great at that moment. I get called up in June of that year, and sure enough, the guy I'm lockering next to for 7 days straight is Eddie Murray. And every day I walked in, he said hello. 6 days straight. 7th day, I walk in, and he always wants to say it first. He just stops me. He goes, "Poole, are you ever going to say hello to me?" And that was it. I mean, a big smile on his face, and I ended up being with him there, and I was with him with the Indians again, and he was just a phenomenal guy. He just had his issues with reporters. That was his choice.
A lot of people do.
Whatever happened, and I don't know all the story, but what I cared about is that man had my back. He wanted to help me out. He was already, right, because clearly he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He was awesome to my family. I had little kids, terrific to them. I love the man, and like I said, I had a lot of really, really good teammates. Eddie Murray was the best teammate I ever had.
Well said, well said. And just because you were a pitcher, I threw these two guys in there. The first one I want to talk about, Goose Gossage.
Yeah.
How intimidating is he just on a regular basis? Because he's intimidating on the mound.
Yeah, so I was with him spring training with the Rangers. I was with him briefly, and the best one I've got for him, Nolan Ryan had to be on that team too.
Yeah, he's on here too.
Yeah, so we'll go together, right, with those guys. So we're in spring training, and Bobby Valentine's our manager. And Bobby was a little paranoid about signs being picked up. So he calls us in about 2 weeks into game. We're just starting games, maybe we're a couple of days into the games of spring training. And he's going through all these elaborate signs about how we're basically, so we make sure nobody picks up our signs. And Goose and Nolan are just kind of looking at each other, just like, what's going on? And Goose gets up and goes, "Hell, anybody picks the signs up with me, I'm just giving them a bow tie," meaning a fastball right under their chin. And you just knew he meant it. So here's Bobby Valentine wanting to kind of be in control of the situation, and Nolan and Goose have just taken it away from him to say the meeting ended right there. Yeah, that was the end of that.
With two pitchers like that on a rotation, I don't even know if you have to have a pitching coach. That was Tom House was our pitching coach, and I'll give him credit. That's exactly right.
You had two guys that had this wealth of knowledge, and Tom did a great job of not having an ego that got in the way. Oh, it's my team, it's my staff. It wasn't like that. It was it's like, Goose, Nolan, you got something to say? Bring it, please. And that's actually the sign of a great coach. And Tom was more than willing to have Nolan and Goose, bring it.
Nolan's arguably one of the best starting pitchers of all time.
I think that's a fair statement. He was able to harness his, right? He was a wild first, able to harness, incredibly hard worker. Intimidating story for Nolan. I actually have now flipped over to the Orioles organization, and he's pitching, and the rumor with Nolan was, he was old, so we should bunt on him, right? Well, everybody was like, no, you don't want to bunt on Nolan. So one of our guys, Mike Devereaux, laced on a bunt, base hit, and the whole bench is like, oh, that's bad. So sure enough, Devo's coming around next time up, and what I had not known yet, but I was now about to witness, was Devo knew darn well he was going to get one of the ribs.
Yeah.
You want to be on base that bad? Here, I'll give it to you. Yeah. Right? And sure enough, Devo took one right in the ribs, and everybody knew it, and but nobody said anything, right?
Yeah, you can't really retaliate.
Not only could he knock your block off, right, if you actually want to go to the mound, but he did everything else straight up, so it was just like, fine, I'll give it to you.
So those are all Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
And they're all great players, but there's some great players that are outside looking in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, sure.
And I want to talk about a few of them that you played with directly. First one being Manny Ramirez.
Yeah.
Tell me about him, just on a personal level.
I love him. He's a really good kid. He was just breaking in as I was probably in the middle of my career, so he's just breaking in. And I think a little bit misunderstood. He was goofy, but a little shy. And I think he would use the goofiness to kind of hide the shyness. A phenomenal talent. I think his ability actually to play the outfield was underestimated, partly brought on by his own sometimes lack of focus. But the best right-handed hitter by far that I ever played with, and I'd probably argue played against, and I played against some good ones too.
From there, we'll go to Rafael Palmeiro.
Yeah, another phenomenal hitter. Yeah, I'll tell you, the guy was at the plate. He had a chance to do damage. When I was with him with the Orioles briefly, just a professional hitter. That guy took care of his craft. He was working hard. He understood. We had a little bit of video back then, but nothing like now. But he understood what pitchers were trying to do with them, and he was ready every day. I mean, I can go back as far as college. When he was back with him and Will Clark and that crowd were at Mississippi State, he was just a really intimidating hitter and didn't really know how for sure to get him out.
Well, that leads me to the last guy who I don't think anybody really knew how to get him out, Barry Bonds. To me, one of the best hitters of all time.
He was the best player I ever played with. It's not even close. Best player I played against. It's not even close. All due respect to the many, many players, Ken Griffey Jr., the whole crowd. Barry was the guy that I never doubted what he could do when he decided he wanted to do it. I'll never forget being in spring training. We're shagging the outfield. He's with a young outfielder, and they're talking hitting. And Barry, very intelligent ball player, had a lot to offer. And we were just talking, and he breaks the season up into 10 at bats. Just 10 at bats, and I want 3 hits every 10 at bats. I'm like, I go, Barry, you're pretty good. I'm thinking more like 7 for 20. Yeah, 3 for 10 is good. That works. That's the way it was. It's like that's what he's going to do. That's what he wanted to do, and sure enough, he went and did it. When I first met him, he was going for 40-40 in 1996, so 40 homers and 40 stolen bases. Well, by the time we rolled to mid-August, we were basically all AAA. All of the people around him were hurt, had been traded, whatever. Robbie Thompson, Matt Williams, the whole group. We were a bunch of AAA and Barry. And everybody in the park knows Barry's trying to get 40 homers and 40 stolen bases. The stolen bases being the more amazing part. So here he is, he would get to first base. The whole park knows he's stealing. He's stealing. His instincts were phenomenal. He was just a great player. I enjoyed him as a teammate. He told you what was on his mind, and that's probably was something people didn't like to hear.
Yeah.
But he's a Hall of Famer.
That's
go right to it. I never saw him take anything, do anything that was illegal. Let's say he did it. For sake of all arguments, he did something. He's the best player I ever played with.
He defined a generation.
Bar none. He is a Hall of Fame ball player. I understand why some people don't want him in the Hall of Fame. I understand why they keep out people like Clemens and whatnot. It's not close. The guy was phenomenal.
I appreciate that because the common attitude among fans is no, just no.
Yeah.
And no reasoning, no thought behind it. But if you flip on MLB Network for 5 minutes during the Hall of Fame talks, the talk comes up whether or not steroid users should be in. And to me, if one's going to be in, it's him. Like,
for me, it's simple. It's simple. He before anybody was worried about whether he was taking anything, he was already considered the best.
Yeah.
So that says enough, right? Yeah. And okay, so take off 100 home runs off his career.
Put an asterisk by his name.
Whatever you wanted to do, the guy was the best player going. So it's, again, I'm not here to argue with people that want to vote. Don't vote him in. However you want to do it, I got it. I understand it. But don't kid yourself. He was the best player of the generation.
The attitude's definitely changing.
Yeah, I think so. I think at some point they'll figure out a way to get that crowd through.
Yeah, I do too. From there, we have to talk about something, Jim.
What's that about?
1995. You're in the World Series. You're with the Indians, and Game 6 rolls around.
Yeah.
And Dave Justice comes to the plate. Tell me, I just want you to describe this outing in particular.
Yeah, so I'll back it all the way up until Georgia Tech had a football game that day, and I was at that football game. A former teammate of mine, I'm leaving at halftime, and a former teammate of mine, the last thing he has to say to me is, whatever you do, don't let David Justice beat you tonight. Period. Sure, got it, Stas, got it, and off I go. And so go to the ball game, excited, back in the town where, going to college and whatnot. And, so game starts, and I ended up, what people don't remember is I warmed up the first inning, warmed up the second inning, warmed up the third inning, warmed up the fourth inning. Dennis Martinez, our starting pitcher, was in trouble every inning and got out every time. It was phenomenal. He's a terrific guy, terrific pitcher. But I finally go out there and pitch in the fifth inning. It's first and second, 2 outs, and Fred McGriff's up. I struck him out. Sweet, World Series, this is awesome, floating off the mound, I get in the dugout, and 2 of my teammates come up to me and go, Jim, you just go stand on deck. I'm the on-deck hitter. Tony Payne is leading off. You just go stand on deck. One of us is hitting for you, depending on what Tony does. So basically, I've just been told I'm out of the game.
Yeah.
So this is great. Put on a jacket, a helmet that doesn't fit, bat, right? I'm standing there, all people, I'm talking to my GM. This is cool. Tony Payne gets the only hit of the game for us. And my manager, Mike Hargrove, who has done a phenomenal job, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't have been there, he just, on a whim, asked me if I could bunt. He just calls up to me while I'm standing there on the deck, Poole, can you bunt? Yeah, sure, right? It's World Series, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that didn't work out too well, and ended up popping up for an out. So okay, I'm out, but now I'm still in the game. So out here I come. Here's David Justice leading off, not thinking twice.
Hold on. Dave Justice was in the newspapers for days before this.
We can go there for sure.
What did you think when he got booed in his own stadium?
Not surprised. It was clearly, when Dave got quoted in between, it was the day off, right? He got quoted as saying how great our fans were in Cleveland. And by the way, he was right. Yeah. Our fans were rabid. No different than the Braves in 91 and 92, right? But let's face it, now this is year 5.
Right. To give Justice some credit, even if he wasn't misquoted, which he probably was.
I don't know how it went.
But fans at that time were kind of, if you win, great. If not, whatever,
Yeah, because this was coming. This was after the strike,
5 years
right? 5 years of rooting for the team. Yeah. The strike had occurred, right? So you already have some jaded fans going on.
He got the fans encouraged. They were there.
Oh boy,
they were there.
And they were vocal. Probably not cheering necessarily, but they were cheering after I threw pitch number 1.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a fastball down and away, and it stayed up and in. Pulled his hands in, and over the fence it went.
All is forgiven.
Oh my gosh, it got pretty loud in there, and it wasn't any booze. It was all cheers. But you got to tip your cap to it. The guy put himself in a position, and knowingly, misquoted or not, I'm sure he knew when he said the Indians fans were just awesome. There was going to be something, and who knows? Maybe I got to know David a little better. We were teammates later on in our career, and. I wouldn't doubt that he was more than willing to stir the pot, and he had that kind of ego in a good way to handle it. Yeah, right. Absolutely. And so he probably did the Braves team and the Braves fans a bit of good. Yeah.
So from there we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
We'll talk about what we're doing right now. We're at the Darrell Cheney United League Golf Tournament, and you're here. You're supporting this cause, and what does it mean to you to be able to give back?
It's awesome. First of all, I've known Darrell for quite a few years, and. Always having a big heart. He was always putting out and putting events together. Met him through the Major League Alumni Marketing Associate group. And when he gave me a call to come out, I actually came up maybe 12, 15 years ago. One time I could come up, but the schedule just never worked. And finally it opened up. And I came back again last year, and just excited to be a part of it. It's as a ball player, you have so many good things that happen to you. But I would argue, if not the best, it's sure in the top 3, is that you have the ability to positively impact what's going on with other folks' lives. And if me being here to get to go play a round of golf encourages some people to come out and support the United Way and do great work in this county, it's easy. Yeah. And I'm really excited that I was asked. So.
Well, the last question that I usually ask any former Brave is, what do you want to say to Braves country?
Yeah.
And you're not a former Brave, but you have given something to Braves country, so
I'm infamous.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you speak directly to Braves country.
Yeah, so you're welcome. I am a Phillies fan, so I'm not rooting for the Braves to win the next World Series, but it won't bother me when I'm not the highlight for the World Series of '95.